Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in on this thankful Thursday. Glad to have you join me. Lots to cover. As always, this has been a busy, busy week with the elections on Tuesday. Bernie Sanders crashed Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's news conference yesterday and criticized the Democrat Party leadership for not supporting Mayor-elect Mamdani. We have the latest on this, as this was supposed to have been a victory lap, and boy, did Bernie Sanders throw a little water on the celebration. If you're flying anywhere this weekend, you may want to double-check your itinerary because things got a little messier in the skies with the announcement yesterday of a 10% reduction in flights in certain cities due to the government shutdown. Erika Kirk, the widow of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk, is calling for a judge to reject a motion to curtail news cameras from the courtroom in the proceedings against her husband's accused assassin, Tyler Robinson. That trial is expected to start in January. All the political pundits are offering their analysis of what happened on Tuesday. I have my ideas, too, and I'll break it down for you. The bottom line is we've got work to do.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
So picture this. Democrats hold their big post-election press conference, the usual victory lap. Instead of Chuck Schumer soaking in the glory, Bernie Sanders basically hijacks the mic, and right there at the Senate podium, Bernie calls out his own party.
Well, the party leadership did not support Mamdani in New York, and he won. Party leadership is not supporting Platner in Maine, and I think he's going to win. So I think it is, I think there is a growing understanding that leadership and defending the status quo and the inequalities that exist in America is not where the American people are.
So Mr. Sanders says leadership did not support the socialist candidate in New York, didn't back the progressive in Maine, and that the American people are fed up with defending the status quo. Now, that's Bernie for you. I mean, the self-proclaimed independent from Vermont who never misses a chance to remind the Democrats that he's more pure than they are. And good for him. I mean, I don't agree with a thing he says, but at least he recognizes that his own party, well, actually, it's not his party. He's an independent. His former party are a bunch of hypocrites. But this moment shows a real fracture inside of the Democrat Party, a war between the old guard establishment and the far-left socialist wing that's gaining ground. And guess what? Bernie's right about one thing. That wing is growing. Just look at Zohran Mamdani, a Democrat socialist who is the new mayor of New York City. Meanwhile, Chuck Schumer, the guy who's supposed to be leading the operation, was already busy blasting Republicans for the ongoing shutdown. Now in its, day 37, the longest in U.S. history. He stood there wagging his finger at conservatives, saying voters just sent a 5-alarm fire message to the GOP. His exact words, their high-cost housing is burning. Just real dramatic stuff there. Here's the thing, though. Schumer's speech was classic Washington misdirection. Did you happen to see the letter that Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries sent to the president, saying that they wanted to have a bipartisan meeting But yet in the message of the letter, they attack not only the president, but the GOP at the same time. They demand to come to the White House and sit down with the president. And in the sentences, in their message, they say, we want to end the GOP shutdown. We want the Republican-led shutdown to end. Now, if you really want a bipartisan meeting, if you really want to sit down and talk, you don't send an inflammatory letter to the person you want to sit down with. But that's Schumer. He's blaming Republicans while ignoring the chaos in his own party. You've got Bernie tearing him apart on stage, progressives calling moderate Democrats spineless, and party leaders pretending this is all unity and progress. And let's not forget what's happening in the states. California passes yet another progressive ballot initiative. Democrats hold control of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and in New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill cruises to another term as governor. The left is feeling pretty good about itself. But that's part of the problem. They're doubling down on the same big government playbook that's left Americans struggling under sky-high cost and government red tape. It's just that simple. Now, Schumer tried to pivot, saying Democrats are focused on lowering health care costs. But come on. These are the same folks who let the Affordable Care Act subsidies expire or will expire at the end of the year, and now want to blame Republicans for higher premiums. The subsidies were never meant to be permanent, folks. You do understand that, right? But yet Schumer's out there. It's political theater. Finger-pointing 101. Meanwhile, funding for the SNAP program, the nation's food assistance safety net, has lapsed because nobody can agree on a real solution. Bernie's outburst, though, says more about where the Democrats are headed than Mr. Schumer's entire speech. The energy in that party isn't with the moderates anymore. It's with the far left, and Zohran Mamdani proved that this week. The socialist, the ones who want government to run everything from health care to housing to how much you pay for your electricity. They want it all. And if Schumer and Jeffries don't get control of that, the Democrats could implode under their own infighting, because I got a feeling, in fact, I'm pretty certain that in the next 2, 3, 4 years, Zohran Mamdani is probably going to be the best thing that could have ever happened from our standpoint. And, of course, I don't live in New York, so I'm not going to feel the pain. But he's going to prove to a bunch of young idealists that socialism isn't what it's all cracked up to be. Here's the part that Republicans need to pay attention to. Democrats just won big in a handful of key races. Bernie's right about one thing. People are fed up with the status quo. Americans are tired of high costs, tired of politicians who talk but don't deliver. If we want to take back the narrative before the 2026 midterms, conservatives have to speak to that frustration, not just blame the other side, not just keep talking about what the Democrats have done wrong. So, yes, Bernie Sanders took over Schumer's mic. But in doing so, he might have just given us a glimpse of the Democrats' next civil war. One side wants to keep pretending that it's 2012. The other's trying to make 1970 socialism cool again. And somewhere in between, average Americans are just trying to buy groceries without taking out a second mortgage. They're just trying to survive. They're trying to raise their children. They're trying to put their children through school. They're trying to pay off their mortgages, buy a new car maybe, take a vacation. But that's Washington for you, where even the winners can't stop fighting each other. Meanwhile, Zohran Mamdani, this 34-year-old Democrat socialist, now the 111th mayor of New York City, the reactions from business leaders, let's just say it's a mix of cautious optimism and straight-up panic. Let's start with hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman, the guy who's behind Pershing Square. Ackman's been one of Mamdani's biggest critics, but to his credit, he tried to play nice. He posted on X, quote, "Now you have a big responsibility. If I can help New York City, just let me know what I can do." Translation, I don't trust you, but I'm willing to help clean up the mess if things go sideways. Then you've got Catherine Wild from the Partnership for New York City. She runs the big business coalition that includes folks like J.P. Morgan, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Verizon, Pfizer, you name it. She congratulated Mamdani, too, saying that she looks forward to working with him to make New York affordable while keeping it competitive. Okay, so let's pause right there. Affordable and competitive don't exactly mix when you're talking about a socialist who wants to raise taxes on the wealthy, expand rent control, and add new regulations that drive businesses out of the city. Just look at what's been happening. People and jobs have been fleeing New York for Florida, for Texas, the Carolinas. Look, I hope that we don't get a big influx of people from New York to the Carolinas, but get ready. We probably will, because people are going to be getting out of Dodge or New York City very quickly. Mamdani's win could just accelerate that exodus. Then there's Alex Karp. He's the CEO of Palantir. He didn't sugarcoat it. He told CNBC, we're about to probably have a complete disaster. Now, he grew up in New York, says this election is all about theory, not results, that voters are more focused on how policies sound than whether they actually work. And he's right about that, folks. I mean, it's a perfect summary of progressive politics in 2025. And, of course, Leave It to Dave Portnoy, founder of Barstool Sports, to drop the blunt truth bomb. He said, if this is what the people of New York City want, then so be it. Thank God I don't live there anymore. Portnoy's been calling Mamdani closer to a communist for months, and you know what? He's not far off. Mamdani's entire campaign was built on wealth redistribution, public housing expansion, and attacking so-called corporate greed. There's going to be a lot of pain to a lot of people who provide jobs, who rent those big buildings in New York City, who turn out corporate profits in order to support their companies. But he wants to take all of that away, and we all know that's not going to work. Let's be honest, those summer vacations and backyard barbecues added some extra pounds, right? But instead of feeling guilty or falling further behind, it's time to reset, drop the weight, and get back in control. The solution isn't a shot. Real lasting weight loss starts with your mind, not your mouth. At PhD Weight Loss, Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team help you uncover the real reasons behind your weight gain so that you can reprogram the way you think about food forever. PhD clients lose up to a third of their body weight without ever taking a drug. I know, because I lost 33 pounds with PhD weight loss. Through real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science, your body can become a natural fat-burning machine. Why risk spending thousands on shots that strip away muscle, come with dangerous side effects, and leave most people regaining 60% of the weight within a year? With PhD, you'll activate your body's natural appetite control, burn fat safely, and stay in control. Even if you're already on Ozempic, PhD can help you transition off while still losing weight. Take the first step today. Call 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. So the elections of 2025 are behind us, and now's a good time for us to kind of take a minute and think about some of yesterday's wins and what do they mean for the overall future of the conservative movement, the Republican Party. A lot of victories here in the upstate of South Carolina. Of course, in a few instances, it was Republican primaries. For example, in the State House District 21 race, Diane Mitchell pulled off a squeaker of a win, but it was a win. And this was in a Republican primary, defeating Steve Nell. I think the last number I saw was by 22 votes. So this is just an example of where every vote counts. As you're running a campaign, you got to make sure that you turn your vote out. And if you're supporting a candidate and you get busy on election day and you think, he'll be fine or she'll be fine, every vote counts in these races. Of course, the big question today is, did we see a clear message from American voters yesterday? As in some of the key races in other parts of the country, like New York City, like Virginia, like New Jersey, where Democrats swept some key races there. Was that a message to us and a message to President Trump, possibly? In Virginia, the Democrat candidate won the governor's race by a pretty large margin. And the party also defeated the incumbent attorney general, and they won the lieutenant governor's race, too. A clean sweep of statewide contests for the Democrats in Virginia. In New Jersey, likewise, the Democrat won a strong victory in the governor's race, despite Republicans thinking that they had a shot of flipping New Jersey. Just didn't happen. Wasn't even close. And, of course, the big headlines today is in New York City, where you have this young progressive Democrat socialist, the first Muslim, Zohran Mamdani, to win the New York mayor's race. It appeared to energize the left, and it's very disturbing. Did you happen to see his speech last night? This guy is coming in. He has a chip on his shoulder. And boy, this is not a good time. I would hate to live in New York City right now. But again, let's think about this across the board. How does this affect, and what message was this, or was there a message from the American people? Was this just some key states that Democrats typically win anyway, and maybe Republicans falsely thought that they had a shot at them, and when they really didn't? So what does this mean for Republicans and, of course, the very important midterms next year? Is our messaging right? Is the tone of the GOP campaigning? Do we need to align more closely with what voters are worried about? Maybe our messaging wasn't right. Housing, everyday cost of goods. Yes, they've come down, but they haven't come down to the pre-Biden era. Maybe it's not even possible to expect that. But one of the messages that seemed to be resonating among Americans was they're not happy with things right now. They're not happy with the government shutdown. Now, some of the polling suggested that they were blaming Democrats for the shutdown and what it meant, how it was affecting them personally. But hey, yesterday's results don't seem to show that people are too upset with Democrats. We support Donald Trump. Yes, he's our champion. But if we're going to win the broader election, the president and the party must recognize that maybe we need to adjust our messaging. Maybe we need to adjust our tone, because President Trump can get out and campaign. He can be very active. But I think we saw yesterday, when he's not on the ballot, when his name's not on the ballot, it doesn't always equate to victory for Republicans. Now, again, next year's midterms, they'll be different from the standpoint that there'll be a lot more names on the ballot, and turnout will be better in some areas where turnout wasn't that great. Although New York City turnout was a record. They had more people vote in the New York City mayoral race than they'd ever had since like the early 60s. So where did we miss? What do we need to fix as Republicans? I think the Republicans, we didn't perform up to expectations, or maybe our expectations were too high. If we assume our base will show up in full and that we will carry the day, yesterday proved that we're mistaken. The Democrats were motivated. They turned out. Voters don't always frame their decision at the ballot box in terms of national identity politics. They ask, how is the economy doing for me? Are my kids safe? Is my community stable? We have to answer those types of questions for every single person who could potentially go into a voting booth and pull the Republican lever. So as we head into the 2026 midterms, which are very important, we've got to maintain our majorities. We need to build on our majorities. We got to build up our bench. We got to open up candidate pipelines. We've got to recruit the right people to run as Republicans. We got to develop messaging about daily life, economic opportunity, security, education, culture in a way that connects with the average voter. We got to reach out to the suburban voters, younger voters, married women, independents, folks from all walks of life who could potentially share some of those conservative values. We got to articulate a clear, compelling conservative vision for America first. We got to put faith, family, and freedom in our communication. Look, this year's elections doesn't mean Republicans are doomed. Far from it. But it is a bit of a red flag. It's a pause that we need to get ready for next year. The Democrats are working the ground. They are adapting their message, and the results showed that they hit hard in places we thought that we might be able to have a chance. It's a reminder. Majorities are not permanent. Victory requires effort. We need to look at our strategy. We need to do some self-reflection as we head into 2026. If the GOP is serious about reclaiming momentum in 2026, we got to stop acting surprised when the other side pulls ahead. We got to sharpen our message, refine our tone. We got to broaden our appeal to people, to younger people especially, just as President Trump did in 2024, and lead with the values that matter. And yes, President Trump remains central to that movement, but even his voice can take on a much broader tone as we aim not to just win primaries, but to win American voter support. And it's important that we do so in 2026. All right, so heads up, folks, if you're flying anywhere this weekend, you probably need to double check your itinerary because things just got a little messier in the skies. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the government is slapping some new restrictions on air travel starting tomorrow, Friday.
The administrator is going to talk about all of the tools we're going to deploy. One of them, though, is going to be that there is going to be a 10% reduction in capacity at 40 of our locations. The administrator is going to tell you that this is data-based. This is not based on what airline travels, has more flights out of what location. This is about where is the pressure and how do we alleviate the pressure.
So basically, because of the ongoing government shutdown, the one that we're more than a month into, the FAA is seriously understaffed, and it's putting pressure on air traffic systems across the country. So now they're cutting flight capacity by 10% at 40 airports nationwide. That's about 4,000 flights that could be either delayed, they could be rescheduled, or they could just be flat out canceled. We don't know yet. We don't know enough about how this is going to affect travel. We don't know which airports are on the list yet. Supposedly, they'll be dropping the list sometime later today. But it's safe to say if you're flying out of a major hub, one of those big cities, it's worth keeping an eye on your flight status. And here's the thing. This isn't just about convenience. It's about safety. Air traffic controllers, TSA officers, all the folks keeping things running behind the scenes, they've been showing up for work unpaid for a month now. Think about that. Think about putting yourself in their shoes. You've been working for a month and you don't get a paycheck. That's more than 13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 TSA staff still on the job with zero paychecks. These are the same people that Congresswoman Nancy Mace berated at the Charleston airport and is getting a lot of flack now, a lot of pushback. She says she's going to sue American Airlines now because the gate agent for American Airlines was in on this whole conspiracy that she's accusing TSA of. Now, Transportation Secretary Duffy actually said that he's worried these workers are burning out, that some of them are trying to pick up side jobs just to pay the bills, but at the same time, he's asking them not to because they still need to come in and keep flights moving. I mean, it's a mess. I mean, if you got an air traffic controller and he's got to have some money to pay his bills and feed his family, and so he's picked up a job, a side job delivering pizza, but yet he's still working his shift, directing the flights. I don't know that I want to be in the skies right now. Duffy also didn't rule out the idea of even bigger cuts or worst case scenario, shutting down parts of the U.S. airspace entirely if things get riskier. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. That would be a major disruption. Not just, think about this. Most people flying during the week aren't flying for pleasure. They're flying for business. They got to be somewhere to cut a deal. So if you got a flight coming up, maybe don't leave it by chance. Check with your airline. Give yourself extra time and have a plan B. We'll keep you posted once the full list of airports comes out. All right, so on the text line. Texter says people's doom and gloom reactions to the election results in New Jersey, New York, and Virginia are ridiculous. All three places are such blue cesspools that the results came as no surprise to me, and maybe some good will come from Mamdani's win. Young skulls full of mush learning what socialism doesn't work. You may be right, but there is a bit of doom and gloom. At least we need to take heed of what happened Tuesday. We can't just gloss over it. It was not a good week, folks. There's no way to dice and slice that. Tuesday was a failure on the GOP side. Now, it doesn't mean things are over, but it means that, hey, heads up. Let's learn from it to go into 2026. Tony has a different viewpoint on the text line. Tony says, if this election is a sign of next year's election, Trump is in trouble. And you're right, Tony, because Trump needs a bigger majority in the House and certainly a bigger majority in the Senate. And based on this week's turnout, we're not going to see that. Ginger says, concerning Nancy Mace and her airport fiasco, Senator Tim Scott made it very clear on his social media post to distance himself from such behavior. We need more Senator Scotts and fewer Nancy Maces. Texter Jim says, Joey, I agree with Donnie. To hold office in state and federal government, you must be a U.S.-born citizen. No naturalized citizens need apply. I got a good many of texts and emails about the whole idea of foreigners, people who were born in a foreign country, coming back and then running for office. I shared with you a message on the MyPillow message line from Trucker Donnie, and he's the one who brought this up, and basically saying, look, if you're not born here, you shouldn't be able to run for office. And especially if you're born in another country and you move here and you try to take over the political positions in your community. Donnie was pretty direct with his message. That was in yesterday's show. If you missed it, go back and listen. You can catch it on the podcast. Just search for Just the Truth wherever you listen to podcasts, and certainly on the free Odyssey app. Your messages are welcome on the MyPillow message line. Don't forget, Mike Lindell has some great specials when you use promo code Joey. The MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are still in stock. Their proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet they still provide that soft feel that you need in a towel, that you want in a towel. Comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. Regular price $69.98. For a limited time, you can get this 6-pack set for only $39.98 when you use promo code Joey. You can call 800-893-4059 or just go direct to MyPillow.com. Place your order there. It's the MyPillow 6-pack towel set, just $39.98 a set when you use promo code Joey. So be sure and take advantage of this. Look, this is November, folks. Christmas is just around the corner. Now's the time to go ahead and buy stock up on some of those great little Christmas goodies that you like to give to people. And a bath towel set would be great. Everything's on sale. The Giza Dream Sheets, and, of course, the MyPillows. Great deals on the MyPillows. So MyPillow.com, always use promo code Joey. So back to the whole idea here of what the Democrats do next and the fact that, yes, we lost. A House Democrat representing a district that President Trump won in 2024 says he's not going to seek re-election next year. He's going to opt out. And this is in the fairly Democrat-controlled state of Maine. Representative Jared Golden announced his plans in an op-ed for the Bangor Daily News yesterday, a day after Democrats' sweeping electoral victories in Virginia, New Jersey, California, New York City, and other places around the country. He said, I have never loved politics, but I find purpose in meaning and service. And the Marine in me has been able to slog along through the many aspects of politics that I dislike by focusing on the good work that Congress is capable of producing with patience and determination. Golden went on to say, though, but after 11 years as a legislator, I have grown tired of the increasing incivility and plain nastiness that are now common from some elements of our American community, behavior that too often our political leaders exhibit themselves. So Golden has represented Maine's 2nd Congressional District since 2019. He managed to hold on to the seat through his constituents voting, although his constituents voted for President Donald Trump in both 2020 and again in 2024. He's considered a moderate Democrat, a Marine Corps veteran, has been known to frequently break from his own party, including on the recent government shutdown vote back in September in the U.S. House. He shared more of his concerns with the left in his retirement announcement, criticizing both Republicans and Democrats for the current state of politics in the country. He said, we've seen mainstream Republicans stand by as their party was hijacked first by Tea Party obstructionists and then by the MAGA movement and its willingness to hand much of Congress's authority to the president, he wrote. It's very critical of Donald Trump. He broke from his fellow Democrats, including House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries on the shutdown. Despite his seat being a prime target for Republicans every 2 years, Golden said that did not factor into his decision. He's not afraid that he's going to lose next year. He's just tired of the whole process. And that's the problem because of how combative politics has gotten. You've got people like this who just say, I'm done. I'm giving up. I'm not doing this anymore because it's just too hard. And you lose good, hardworking individuals, people that you want to be in Washington representing you, but yet they don't want the hassle anymore. They don't want to go through the process. They don't want to deal with the nastiness anymore. And apparently that's what this guy's done. And look, this may be a good opportunity. Republicans might be able to pick this seat up now since it will be an open election next year. We'll see. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you could trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. So here's a question for you. Should the accused assassin of Charlie Kirk have TV cameras in the courtroom during his trial? That seems to be an issue that is going to be determined pretty soon. It'll be one of the most emotionally charged trials in recent American history, you got to know. And it's about more than justice for this one man. It's about transparency. It's about accountability. It's about getting to the truth. There's all these various conspiracy theories, if you will, about Charlie Kirk's death. It's literally gripped millions across our country. Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, is speaking out. She's demanding that cameras remain in the courtroom for the trial of her husband's accused killer, Tyler Robinson, 22-year-old from Utah Valley. He's charged with aggravated murder. Erika sat down with Fox News' Jesse Waters and delivered a very powerful, heartfelt plea, one that's resonating with people on both sides of the political aisle, asking a very simple question, and that is to allow cameras to enter the courtroom so that the nation can watch this trial. Here's what she told Jesse.
The defense wants to ban cameras in the courtroom. How do you feel about that?
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is. This is something that could impact a generation and generations to come.
And she's right. She makes a good point, doesn't she? If there were cameras capturing every moment of the tragedy, and we've seen the video footage, the gruesome video footage, cameras capturing, as she said, every tear, every headline, then yes, there should be cameras capturing the truth of what comes next during this trial. Ms. Kirk's words cut right to the heart of the issue, and that's transparency, so that everybody knows what happened. Everybody can watch this young man go through the trial and his reactions. And that's the key. This isn't about spectacle. It's about showing the world the process, the evidence, and the pursuit of justice. It's just that simple. I mean, I think we can all admit that Charlie Kirk's assassination on September the 10th of this year was a very dark moment in recent memory. It affected a lot of people. My mom was talking about how she remembers where she was when she learned about the assassination of JFK. A lot of people do. A lot of the younger generation are going to remember where they were when they learned of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He was doing what he had done many, many times before, sitting under a tent with a microphone, taking questions from a group of young people. Thousands of people showed up at this outdoor venue. The alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, was captured soon after. Video showed him running across the roof of the area where police accuse him of lying in wait and shooting one shot from a .30-06 that took Charlie Kirk out, that ended his life. And yet, despite the overwhelming interest in the case, the defendant has not appeared in person for people to see him. We don't know much about this young man. At his most recent hearings, Robinson appeared virtually using a camera feed that displayed only a blank slate reading Utah County Jail. His face, the face of the man accused of killing one of America's most prominent conservative voices, was hidden. Millions saw Charlie Kirk's final moments on video, raw, unfiltered, tragic footage, yet the accused killer has been shielded from public view, attending hearings from behind a digital curtain. The defense is now asking the court to restrict or remove cameras from the proceedings altogether. They argue it's about protecting Robinson's right to a fair trial. But Erika Kirk says this case demands full transparency. She's not seeking revenge. She's seeking accountability. Judge Tony Graff, who's presiding over the case, recently denied a motion that would have allowed Robinson to appear in court without shackles, but he did allow him to wear civilian clothes rather than a jumpsuit from the prison, which, granted, could be a nod to the presumption of innocence. Graff also told both sides to file new motions and briefs before ruling on the issue of cameras access, meaning the future of media coverage is still up in the air. The next hearing is scheduled for January 16th, 2026, when Robinson is expected to make his first in-person appearance since the murder. That will be a day to watch, not just for the legal outcome, but for what it represents, a confrontation between truth and darkness, freedom and fear. Charlie Kirk wasn't just another conservative voice. He was a force to be reckoned with. The founder of Turning Point USA, he built this movement that inspired millions of young Americans to engage in politics, to first and foremost defend their faith, and to stand up for freedom of speech. He believed in the American dream, and he never backed down from a fight. But he did it as a gentleman. His assassination sent shockwaves across the country and even around the world. It wasn't just an attack on one man. It was an attack on the ideas he stood for: faith, freedom, and the belief that young Americans can and should make a difference. And that's what makes Erika Kirk's call for cameras so powerful. She's not just defending her husband's memory. She's defending the truth, the same truth that Charlie fought for and lost his life for. This case raises a bigger question. How do we balance justice with transparency in the modern age of cameras and social media, streaming media? For decades, courtroom cameras have been controversial. Some judges argue they turn serious trials into media circuses. Others say they're essential to maintaining public trust. But in this case, with so much public interest, misinformation, political tension, transparency seems not only fair, but absolutely necessary so that the nation, the world, can be confident that they are watching this firsthand themselves. When tragedy happens in the public square, don't you think justice should happen in the public square as well? Erika Kirk's courage has been extraordinary. She's faced unimaginable grief, endless scrutiny, and a media firestorm, yet she continues to stand for truth. She told Waters that she and her family had been under constant observation since that day, and she's right. I mean, they're second guessing what she wears, how she does her hair, everything. People they were second guessing a hug between her and Vice President J.D. Vance. So yes, she's become accustomed to cameras whether she wanted to or not. And maybe this young man who decided he was going to take her husband out in his life prematurely, maybe he needs to get used to some cameras too, because he has the whole country and the whole world watching him. And we want to get to the bottom of this. We want just the truth. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.